Good morning. My name is Prakash Patel. I'm the IT director at 21st Century Cyber Charter School.
And my name is Tom Lance. I am the tech support specialist, or one of the tech support specialists at the school as well.
And I'm Lauren Mitchner. I am the instructional technology coach. So we are a cyber charter school. We serve students across the entire state of Pennsylvania in grades 6 through 12. So we're in middle and high school. We have one office in Westchester, which is outside of Philadelphia, and then one office outside of Pittsburgh. So this is a really important piece of our school because our students log in from their homes every day, and that's how they attend school with us. The majority of our curriculum is developed in-house, and it's delivered entirely online through Moodle. That's the learning management system that we use. And we are a 1 to 2 device school. So every student and teacher at our school receives both an iPad and a MacBook. And all of the work that we've done with this to truly integrate this technology into the curriculum recently led to our distinction as an Apple Distinguished School. So we're really excited to join that community and also just continue to share our story. So the school was started in 2001. Our students have received Apple devices since the beginning of our school, starting with the eMac. Right now they get MacBook Airs. And then in 2017, we started the iPad pilot with our 8th grade class. So the following year, we went from 7th to 9th grade. This year, we're 7th through 12th grade. And then next year, 6th grade will get iPads to round out the entire school. So before we kind of got into the meat of this, we wanted to get an idea of who was with us today. So if you could, you can either log in through the website provided or text that number. But we'd love to see what kind of role you play within your organization.
While you folks are completing the poll, we also have some swag for you from our school. So please come up and help yourself. We have keychains, chapstick, pens, so lots of goodies. So help yourself. It's coming through.
You got technology support.
I see that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Everyone here, technology support?
Good choices.
Go for it.
So there's a good mix. And as you'll see from our conversation today too, we all play different roles within our organization, but we have to work together to make these things happen. So there's a lot that we've had to come together on as a team to make sure that these processes and procedures come into place and best support our students and our faculty. There's our teachers, coaches. Good. Good. I'm glad we have a good mix here today.
You gotta click it on there.
You get it though. So again, my name is Tom. I've been with the cyber school for a couple of years now. And what I'd like to talk about are 4 different areas in the tech support area that we deal with. One is common technical issues. The other one will be seamless provisioning, app vetting, and troubleshooting devices and the tools we use within the school. Our tech department, like most tech departments, we run very lean, and we wear many hats. Most tech departments have come a long way in regards to customer service. At least I like to think that anyway. Sorry. So back in the day, the IT people, as we know, they were in the basement. They were pasty. They all had attitude. But I like to think that that's changed. So what I like to do is show you or introduce you to a guy named Nick Burns. Hopefully you haven't worked with someone like this recently. You may have worked with someone like this in the past. So, and you may recognize some people in this video.
Louise, I can't wait to get my MCSE and quit this job. What's your problem?
Well, but it just crashes every time my screensaver comes up.
All right, let's run a test. Just type in xy dot violator slash 467F46.
Type in...
Move! Son of a... Okay, here. Do you want me to save your game of Minesweeper here?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, instead of playing a game, God forbid we read the manual. Have you people ever seen computers before? What I do here is I press the letters and it manipulates the screen here and we have fun with it, okay?
Yeah, I know about computers, okay? I'm on the internet at home.
Let me guess. You're on AOL?
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing except it doesn't understand JavaScript. God, I wish someone here knew about computers because that would have gotten a laugh.
So hopefully you recognized a couple people there. It's one of my favorite characters in Saturday Night Live, and it's still funny to this day. So what I want to talk to you about are the common issues that we run into at the school. One of the common issues, and the main common issue, is our wireless network. We don't have the option of maintaining 1, 2, 3 networks. We have over 1,400 networks that we have to troubleshoot, meaning that it's the kids at home, their wireless network. Because of the wireless network being slow, or not responding, of course, it's possible they're not going to be able to even submit their assignments or even open videos. And because of that also, if their apps don't download onto the iPad, that's definitely a problem as well. Another issue we have is students forgetting their passwords. As we know, even staff forget their passwords, so that's definitely an issue. And a lot of staff and a lot of students, they think that closing the lid on the laptop is restarting. And as everybody knows, MacBooks, I mean, look, I love Mac, but if you don't restart every so often, it gets a little wonky. And we have to respond to these issues quickly, because some of the students, that's the only device they have in their home, and we don't want to be the cause of their truancy. That's the last thing we want to do. So we just recently started the integration of our student information system with Jamf Pro. We use FileMaker. I don't know if anybody else uses FileMaker. So now when a student is assigned a class, the app or the program is automatically sent to the device. It's done remotely at the student's home, or we can even do it, of course, at our school before we send the equipment out. And because we're scattered all over the state of Pennsylvania, and some of these kids, they still have DSL, so their connections are going to be, not as good. But when we do have the connection, Jamf allows us to do it remotely, which is really helpful, of course. So as an example, a teacher comes to our group frantic, as we all know they do, and they say, I have a student that's trying to get it that does not have a particular app for their iPad, say at 7:30 in the morning. Well, because of Jamf, by 7:35 we can have that app deployed. As 75% of you know that because your technology support, right? Mm-hmm. So. There we go. All right, I want to talk a little bit about app vetting. And I know that in the keynote they said that there's a new way for app vetting that we're going to look into, of course, in Jamf. But the way we do it now, we are, as technology, we are involved with the teachers when it comes to the app vetting process, which helps us because we know how the app works, how it's supposed to work, and it's easier to troubleshoot. So at this time, we use a third-party vendor that actually vets the privacy policies for us, because we don't have an attorney on hand all the time, and of course that would be costly. Lauren's going to speak a little more about the app vetting process. And you know, as school employees, we want to make sure that the students are safe, right? And the parents rely on us to keep them safe, and that's what we do, right? So there's a couple of different tools that we use, troubleshooting devices and tools. And you probably already know all about these things, but I'm going to go through them anyway. So for like the laptops, we can check their last check-in. We can check their OS version, their computer groups and policies, their uptime. We can verify serial numbers. We can actually brick the machines if they're stolen or if they withdraw from the school. So with the iPads, we can see if remote commands were received. We can unlock passcodes, restart iPads, inventory of apps on the device, and enable lost mode. And you guys probably already know all that.
It's me. Thank you.
Here's Lauren. Thank you.
So technology, it doesn't just kind of play a role in our class, it's the whole class, which really changes the way we have to use it and the way we have to think about it. So it can't just be like the icing on the cake. Like, here's a fun, flashy little thing we're going to do to keep the kids excited, and then we'll move on with the lesson. It's the whole cake. It's the icing, it's the cake, it's the box the cake comes in, it's everything we do.
So Mike is our music teacher that we have at our school, and he delivers an entire music curriculum online to our students, which is really cool. But I thought he just described the use of technology in our environment perfectly, right? Kind of like from when I was growing up, the technology piece in the classroom was like a really fun day. It was something different and exciting. With us and our students, the technology is every single day for them, and it's 5 to 8 hours a day that they're working on it. So it's really important for us to make sure that the technology is enhancing the curriculum, and that we're not just checking the box that we have an iPad and we have a MacBook and the kids are great. So professional development plays a really important role in the implementation of technology at our school. So professional development is a school-wide investment with us. We are very lucky. We have partnered with Apple, and we have an Apple Learning Specialist who works with our teachers on a really regular basis throughout the school year. And she really focuses on our unique environment and makes sure that we are using the Apple technology that we have access to its fullest extent. So that's been a really great partnership for us the past 2 years. We've also worked hard, especially as a team with tech, to make sure that the processes and procedures are in place. So this ensures consistency with the staff, and then also helps with teacher buy-in. So if they see that we're doing all of the work on the back end to try and make this as seamless as possible for them, they're more willing to try things because they know exactly what they need to do in order to try that new app. And then the most important piece is that technology really needs to be integrated in order to create those innovative classrooms. And the most important piece, why we're here, is our students. So knowing the why is something that drives what we do every single day. And this is one of our current students, just kind of explaining the impact of technology on his education with us.
And a laptop and an iPad, it's having like a second screen for it, so I don't always open second tabs for the laptop, so I can go to the laptop and iPad, and I can find stuff easier on the iPad.
So it's always great feedback for us to make sure and to learn that these students are using these two devices to really enhance their education every day. So this student was specifically talking about the use as like a second screen, or that second device, so that he could do multiple things at once, all through that technology. So as Tom mentioned, having access to these devices is fantastic. The number of apps that exist out there for us to use for education are phenomenal, but it's really important to us that the apps are secure. We're looking at student data and teacher data that's being inputted into some of these apps. So we need to make sure that they're going to add value to the school and value to the curriculum. So we have a whole app vetting process that we worked hard to kind of put together. So it starts with the teachers requesting an app through an online form. We use Google Forms. So they provide information about what class the app will be used for and how the app is going to be used. It's then purchased through Apple School Manager, and apps are deployed to those of us in the app vetting process. So that includes me as the instructional technology coach, Tom as the tech specialist, and then the teacher who requested it. And then it rolls over to tech at that point.
Yeah, so what happens when we get the request, the IT department, we go into the app and make sure it's compatible with the iOS version and also with the version of the iPad that we have in stock for the students. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a third-party vendor named EdPrivacy, and they not only check the privacy policies, which is great, they also will let us know how the student data is collected and how they use it, which is, phenomenal, because we don't want to put an app out where they take the data and they sell it to a third-party vendor.
Yeah. So then as the instructional technology coach, I meet with the teacher and have that discussion with them about how it's going to be used, how it's really going to enhance that curriculum. And then we also just make sure that we don't have an app already like it or similar to it that we could use. And then at that point, if it's deemed educationally valuable and secure, it's then deployed to the students who need it. So this is one of those processes that we've put in place. Teachers know that there's a clear step-by-step process they have to follow in order to request those apps. And we've also committed to a 48-hour turnaround so that the teachers have like that really quick reply from us as to whether or not this app will be included with them. So when we first did the rollout, we started with 8th grade back in 2017-18. 89 apps were requested that year by one grade level of teachers. So it was fun. We ended up deploying only 23. So a lot of that, again, was based on kind of looking at the app. Is it really going to do what we want it to do? Are there a ton of ads? Are there things that are restricted because of the light speed filter that we have on the iPad? So 23 were deployed the first year. The following year, another 60 were requested. Now, some of these were duplicates from the year before. We only deployed 14. But the apps that we're deploying are educationally valuable to the school. And it's what the teachers and kids need to complete the work in those classes. The biggest piece that we've taken from all the work that we've put into this professional development and the time that we've put in is that our teachers are empowered. So we have an EdTech home base. It's a Google site that I run that all of our teachers have access to. It stores asynchronous PD, so teachers can access it at any time for like little refreshers. It includes inspiration and ideas from their colleagues. So I love this piece because they can log on and see what the Spanish teacher a few desks down created in Pages, and then they know they can go speak to that Spanish teacher. How did it go? How did the kids react to it? What kind of product did you get back from them? It includes different announcements regarding technology, and then also a space for feedback from me to make sure that I'm best supporting the teachers and the students. They also have access to a whole folder of how-tos and resources. These are slide presentations that can be embedded directly into our learning management system. So my goal is for students to show up to class knowing how to use the technology and then just learning about the content and then having the time and space to apply that content through the technology. So it's these ways that I can best support the teacher so they can focus on what they're teaching that day and not have to worry about showing a student, how to airdrop again or how to use this feature in Keynote. So these are some really great pieces that have come out of this. And the teachers feel confident and they're willing to take those risks, which is the important part. So our innovative classrooms, we've really enhanced that learning experience for our students, and we've even just enhanced the teaching experience for our faculty. So the access to the devices and the responsiveness to Jamf is huge. Even with teachers being at 2 different offices, they're about 4 hours away. So we're able to support the teachers in the same way that we're able to support the students, and that's really important. We deploy ebooks, both for professional development and for students' curriculum. So Jamf allows us to do that very easily and quickly. And the biggest piece is that we are just no longer restricted by the 4 walls of a classroom. So we have this unique opportunity that our learning environment is delivered through 4 sides of a screen. So when that's something like an iPad, that's a real world experience for these students. So they can have their education, wherever they are.
All right. So we have another quick little poll for you guys. Do you feel you have limited resources within your tech department? So I'll give you a minute or so to respond. And those of you that might have come in a little late, we have some swag items for you. So after you're done taking part in our poll, please help yourself.
And I'm going to predict, since most of your technology is going to be no, it's just the way it is. I mean, yes, excuse me, I read it backwards.
Right, so 73% of you are dealing with what I am dealing with in my school, and having limited resources, and you're also trying to move the organization forward, bring new ideas into the organization is not always easy. So in my school, I have 4 team members that are supporting about 1,500 students plus about 125 staff members. So it's resources, manpower is very limited. So we had to get creative with how we were going to move forward with this. All right, so let's start. Again, my name is Prakash Patel. I am the IT director at 21st Century Cyber Charter School. I joined the school last year in July, and then prior to joining 21st Century, I served as a classroom teacher, teaching computer science and math. So today, I'll be discussing with you the 3 areas that I was part of in this journey of ours. So experiencing growth in our school with student population, the infrastructure, and also the additional support that my team would need as we pursue our endeavor of becoming the 1 to 2 school. There was a huge growth taking place in the school with students. Our enrollment had spiked, and so the growth was going to change how our journey was going to manifest. And so there was a greater demand in the infrastructure and providing the necessary tools to support staff and our students. So we've seen the steady growth in student population over the last 3 years. We welcome the growth, but we're certainly not expecting the rapid ripple effect that it was going to have on our organization. So for every student that is added into our school meant that there are 2 additional devices that were going to be deployed out to that student, so an iPad and a MacBook Air. And so as you can see in this chart, not only are we experiencing a high demand of students coming in, but we're also seeing a good retention rate as well. And so we are at about 45% retention, and that's great for us to see. We're experiencing about a 20% growth in that retention in those last 3 years. And any of you that are in the business mindset, you know that retention is huge when it comes to being successful, all right? So seeing that 45% retention is great for us to see. I'm also supporting 2 different locations with my team. We support a location in Murraysville, Pennsylvania, and our second location, our home base, is in Westchester, PA. And so having 2 sites, limited staff, lots of students coming in, you can imagine what I'm dealing with, right? So with an increase in enrollment means an increase in our infrastructure, right? So this year we moved to a new facility, and so it was a perfect opportunity for us to evaluate our current needs and what our needs are going to be for future sustainability. So we were able to purchase equipment that would support increase in our bandwidth, and also put in place the latest in Wi-Fi technology that would provide rich network experience while providing the tech team the tools to manage our network, right? So you heard from Tom on the tech side of things, and you heard from Lauren on the professional development side, right? So what is our big secret to making this whole thing successful? Anybody want to take a guess? Any guesses? I'll give you a hint. It starts with J. Oh, Jamf. That's right. That's right. So we now have Jamf in place, right? And so this was going to change how my team is going to provide the support and how they were going to dispense all the necessary tools that our students need on a daily basis, right? And so Jamf allows us so many things, and I'm sure you sat in many different sessions throughout this week. Zero-touch deployment. We can brick devices. I mean, it is just a phenomenal tool for us to have, especially when you have students across the state, right? So they're not coming to us on site. So having Jamf in this journey is a must for us. So our school is unique in so many ways, right? And so most importantly, our students come from, like I said, all over the state, okay? So no matter where our students live in the great state of Pennsylvania, our technology will meet them where they are, okay? So think about that for a second. Our technology will meet the students where they are, okay? So that's a beautifully bold, powerful statement for us to make, right? And we couldn't do that if it wasn't for Jamf, right? Now, this is not a novelty concept. 21st century did not come up with this concept. This is a concept that's been around for quite some time. So back in 1999, Sugita Mitra, a renowned UK educator, created this ambitious project that would provide access to technology to every child, irrespective of the child's background or environment. So I want to show you a quick little clip of that project so you can see the impact that we have by providing technology to our kids, irrespective of where they are.
Because there will always be communities with no schools at all, I went in search of the hole in the wall.
I've always said that it's not a question of what the internet will do to India, it's a question of what India will do to the internet. Children love a challenge. Learning how to operate the computer and learning how to use the internet is something that children can do anywhere. If you just put a computer in public, in an open space, then children in the age group of 6 to 12 will learn how to use it on their own, irrespective of what language they speak in, how much schooling they've done, and almost anything that you can measure. The first hole-in-the-wall computer was in New Delhi in 1999, and it was set up in a slum area. Within about 3 months, they learn almost everything there is, including downloading MP3s and graphic equalizers and videos. I asked this child, what is this character? And he didn't know that it was called Mickey Mouse because he couldn't read. He said, it's a very nice game. It's a rat game. To him, Mickey Mouse was a friendly rat. India has always prized knowledge over many material things. All our entire philosophy is based on the fact that material things have lower value than knowledge.
What kind of job do you want to do?
So, computer engineer.
An engineer?
Computer engineer. Computer engineer.
And all three of you, huh?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
We're moving from a world of have and have not to a world of know and know not. And that's going to be a very big difference in the way in which we deal with each other. The equalizing forces will have to change, hopefully from fighting to friendship.
All right. So when technology meets the child where they are, we begin to create opportunities where opportunities do not exist, right? So through Jamf, we can deliver all the technology necessary, all the resources that are necessary for our children to learn, irrespective of where they live or what barriers they face, right? Now, the video takes place in India, but the stories and the children that you see is no strange for us in our organization. We have kids with limited resources. As Tom said, some of our kids are in DSL, right? So we have to meet them where they are, and we do that through the help of Jamf. All right, so we're able to unleash the iPads in ways that we never thought we could. So one of my favorite apps that I like to use is Duet. And what that allows us to do is provide additional real estate space to work within, right? So all of our students receive a MacBook Air. They're 12 inches. Now, keeping in mind, they're virtual, right? So our kids are online learning. They're into our LMS, they're into our Moodle system, they could be in our Gmail, they could be in our virtual offices. So they're in so many different places at any given point in time. So unlike your brick and mortar, the kid shows up, they're sitting in the classroom and that's where they are, right? But for us, our kids are all over. And so for us, that 12-inch is not enough. So this app, Duet, allows us to create that additional real estate space that they need and really utilizing the power of the iPad. So the students can have their Gmail open, they can have their LMS open, and continue doing work as well, right? And so giving that additional real estate space is very important. So now, with all of the systems that are in place, ed privacy is huge for us, right? I'm not a lawyer, Tom's not a lawyer, and neither is Lauren. And so we needed someone to look through the terms of use and make sure that our students' information was going to be protected. And so we use services from ed privacy to vet the apps. And so they take care of all the HIPAA, FERPA compliance, and then we can focus more on the instructional side of those apps and make sure that instructionally they're going to support our classroom and they're going to support our students in the best way possible. All right, so our teachers receive PD, right? And so that they learn about the iPad technology and the various apps that are available in the market. I wanted to do the same thing for my team as well. So I needed to empower my tech with PD sessions. It's important that they get the training necessary to use all the resources that are out there to empower them. So our tech was also involved in PD sessions. So this past summer, my tech team spent 3 days learning about Jamf and all the things that you can do within Jamf. And so they had an opportunity to also learn about the different products that are out there. Once the summer training was done, they also had access to other training opportunities, sometimes learning from their colleague. Jamf has an amazing online portal that you can go and take these courses and learn for yourself. And also having a chance for them to go outside of our organization, go to conferences and talk to other educators and learn from them. And you get best practices out of that as well. And so creating that opportunity for my team was important as well. So they also have their PD sessions, just like the teachers do. All right. So the other thing I wanted to do, because we are strapped with manpower, right? I wanted to change some of the dynamic of that team. So the tech department is taking on a broader scope of responsibility that bleeds into curricular area as well. And so in most schools, your tech department is spending the day troubleshooting computers. Computer doesn't boot up. This happens. The printer's not working, right? So they're just running all over the place trying to troubleshoot. And we decided to invest our time instead on the forefront, right? So my team is involved in the classroom technology and the way it's going to be implemented. And so with this change in the model, we're taking a proactive approach and helping to decrease the volume of calls that are coming into tech support. So instead of continuously fielding calls to troubleshoot the classroom instructional technology, we're creating opportunities to increase the base knowledge in various areas, including building a deeper knowledge for best practices. And that's what's going to allow us to leverage Jamf in our everyday operations. So our journey has also resulted in that shift, right? So as you saw with the video that Tom showed earlier on, that used to be tech. That's not tech today, right? We're much different than what you saw in that video. So today my team is more than just tech knowledge. They're part of the instructional process, and they're helping to shape our classrooms instruction on a daily basis. With purposeful intention, we'll continue to create time to explore and play with technology that is part of our environment. So providing access to meaningful training and access to conferences is critical, right? So too often the investment in the PD that is short with expectations that are very long, right? So it's huge expectations, but investment is low. And so we're looking at a model where we want to provide long-term training and set them up for long-term success. And we'll continue to improve this process by creating a greater level of involvement from all staff members, including admin, In addition to, we also have processes in place that will allow for routine audits as technology changes, and without having our team revisit what was deployed, our system will be outdated, and the success is just not going to be there. All right. And that concludes our presentation. So we'll open up for Q&A. No questions? That means we did an amazing job. Is that what it is?
If anyone has questions, we've got microphones up here just so as a reminder.
With y'all having students across the whole state, how are y'all getting your devices deployed to the students? Are they coming to one central location to pick them up, and then you're just servicing them remotely? Or are you shipping them like through the mail to get them to the students?
We ship devices to the students. Yes. And the computers are prepped with all the necessary technology that they would need. So if it's an iPad, they'll have all of the apps already installed on the iPads. If it's a laptop, all of the applications that they need will all be installed. Once that is done and it's prepped, then we ship it out to the kids.
And likewise, when they withdraw from the school or graduate, we send them boxes and labels, and they ship them back to us. Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously the wireless network, essentially individual networks. Do you use any services to manage that, or you just, I'm just very curious because wireless is always an issue, but how do you approach that level of unique networks?
Well, basically we just go through basic network troubleshooting with them. We have them restart everything. We do not manage their network at all. So and if we get to the point where it seems it's a ISP issue, we'll have them contact their carrier.
Hi. First, thanks for taking the time to talk to us and explain your experience. I work at a K-6 to 12 school, and digital books is the biggest challenge for us. And we are lucky enough to be private, and we have a good team, and we have a digital learning folks who can work with the faculty. But I feel like we always faculty-driven school, so we empower them to choose whatever platform they want. And for me as an admin, it becomes a nightmare because there's books from everywhere, iBooks, Amazon, Pearson's app. And to control that and be able to support 1,200 iPads, and how do you guys talk to your faculty, or like do you put some rules, or like do you restrict them, or I'd love to hear it.
So the admin team works a lot with that. The iBooks that we deploy are all written in-house by our faculty. So iBooks especially are user-specific, not device-specific, whereas the apps are device-specific, so they're harder to deploy. And we have kind of been like plugging Apple as much as we can to change that, because that's hard. So the iBooks we deploy are written in-house, so those are easy to deploy. We use Sora, it's S-O-R-A, for the novels, for like our English courses. So that's an online library that students have access to. They're assigned the books that they need for their courses, but that app also gives them the opportunity to check out books as an online library that they can read like outside of class. So we try and kind of keep it at that level. And then there are still like textbooks that we do ship out, like the hard copies. If the publisher does not have like an ebook version that we can deploy, we do still ship out like some of the hard copies for that. So we try, and that stuff, as you know, like changes every year with publishers. This year we deployed like a Pearson app and an e-text one, I think.
Sure.
And those, with the integration between our FileMaker, the Student Information System, and Jamf, we can deploy those apps to the courses that need it. So like my AP Geography kids get the Pearson app because they're the only ones that are using it at this time. And then we just try and do, you know, as much like education as possible with that, with like, this is how you use the app for this course, and try and support the kids that way, but it's hard.
No, of course, and
Yeah.
I'm getting the feelings that it's coming down from like administrators down.
Yes.
Versus the other way.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you train your students how to use the devices when you're not there with them,
In front of us.
hands-on?
Yeah. So all of our students go through an orientation when they first join us. It's about 2.5 days. So that focuses a lot on how to use the computer. I wrote an iBook that is deployed on all iPads. It's a student user iPad guide. So that walks them through a lot of like what they're going to be doing on a daily basis with the iPad, specific to Moodle and our courses. And then we also do like lunch and learns for students. Those are all virtual as well, but I'll have them come in and just like focus on clips one day. So if they're able to log in and join us, we talk about clips, how to use the app. So we try like different opportunities that we can, but those are like the main ways that we kind of train the students that way.
Sometimes they train us.
They do.
Hi there. So I'm curious about this app vetting process. I'm curious what the turnaround time is for when a request comes in and then whether it gets approved or denied. I'm also curious to know, I guess, on the heels of that question, how agile you got, like in terms of like getting a request from like a music faculty person, for instance. He just found a lovely new app, but and then I guess my second question concerns compliance. I'm curious to know like whence the desire for compliance. Is this something that is important to Pennsylvania State and that's the reason why you guys have a contractor? Or like I, for instance, work in an independent school and I'm really impressed by the process that you guys just presented and I want to bring something like that back. Do I need a state law
No.
to make my private school do it?
This is like totally internal with us. So the turnaround time, we really try 48 hours. But the staff, it's very much like a team approach with us. So we try the 48 hours, but that includes like sometimes getting in touch with the teacher if they're out for the day, you know, things happen. But with ed privacy, like you can look up the score within seconds. Now there are some cases with ed privacy where an app has not been reviewed before. So that'll kind of delay the process a bit because they have to review the privacy policy and then score it and let us know.
Mhm.
But they're usually pretty quick with that too. So that's the turnaround. And it's been pretty good. So the Google form feeds into a Google Sheet that Tom and I have access to. And then we just have like notifications set up. So as soon as I make a change, it emails him. He makes his piece. I get emailed back about that edit that was made. So we're really like going back and forth that way. The ed privacy piece was really brought on with Prakash when he started with us. It's a little bit of a different setting with us. We feel like we can't see the devices that the kids are on. Like normally when you're in a brick and mortar, you can get an eye on the screen most of the time with the kids. With us, they're at home. So unless they are choosing to screen share with us, we can't see what's on their screen. So it was really important for us to make sure that what we're sending into the homes of our kids keeps their data secure and that they're safe.
Yeah. And because we don't see the kids, we also want to ensure our parents that what we deploy is not only instructionally sound, but again, it protects the students as well. Prior to me joining the organization, there was nothing like this iPad. I think we only had so many deployed, so the conversation wasn't there yet. And when I started the whole process of, well, let's look at the terms of use. So what is this app really doing to the information that's there? And when we started looking at the legal fees, I mean, it was horrendous. And so ed privacy allowed us to cut that time down tremendously. And the scores are very detailed. You'll know exactly where, how the calculation was done. And then sometimes we'll look at a score that's like a 3. I'm like, but you know what? It's 3, but we don't see any serious concerns, and the 3s are for things that are irrelevant for our organization, and we might still deploy it. But other times that 3 might be based out of some other criteria, and we might see concerns and deny it. So ed privacy really allows us to expedite that process a lot more. So these guys can truly focus on the instructional value of the app, because again, they don't have the legal knowledge base to look at the terms of use. So I want their focus to be on the instructional side and really support the teachers and have a far more rich conversation with them.
Wonderful.
But let's touch base because I can get your contact info and I'll share like what questions we ask and like share the form.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to recreate it.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Question about restrictions. Since these devices are in homes, do you do any control using Jamf either outside of school hours or even during the school day where they're not able to use certain apps, certain things?
Not yet.
We
Not
don't.
yet.
Yeah, we don't. So another piece to our student population. Some of our students have a professional career. So they might be a model, they might be a professional athlete. So we don't want to create that kind of restriction where they can only use the device between certain hours. So we want to give them that flexibility. So as far as management and control, we do filter the content that they're going to be viewing online. So the restrictions are not there now.
Okay. And then with Jamf announcing Jamf School and teacher and parent apps, do you have plans for those?
I like the parent piece. I think empowering your parents to have a say in how their kids are going to be using technology, it could definitely add some value. I don't know if there was something else that caught your guys' eyes.
The back end of that is like, how do we best train the parents?
Yeah.
Because again, some of these parents live 5 hours from an office, so the whole virtual setup. But yeah, I think it's a great piece to really include the parents in this kind of environment. So I have big plans.
Gotcha.
You might not know yet, but they're coming.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the 21st Century Cyber Charter School, and thank you to everyone who contributed to such a lively discussion.
Thank you.
We have the swag up
there's
front
stuff
again.
Up here,
and don't forget to take an opportunity to leave feedback in the app. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.